Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. We're getting ready for another scrap run, another load of good stuff down to Melbourne while the prices are good and while I have to clean my yard up. This time we're going to take some electric motors. I've got lots of crates full here. I'll show you in a tick. I've also got some tubs in my other shed of small electric motors, so we should have at least a ton of that. I'll kind of weigh them, although I know there's 30 kilos in each of those, but I'll kind of weigh the load so that I know what's going in the van and what roughly I'm going to get back in return. And I'm also going to finish it off with some wheelie bins full of insulated copper wire. So we'll start loading up and we'll do a trip probably early next week. So I like to pack the motors in the crates here. They stack well. I can sort of do a stock take. You know, I know how much I've got weight-wise if I put about 30 kilos in each crate. They are manageable. I can trolley them. I've got a couple of big monsters here, or one there, and there's a couple on the other side. I do want to try and get that pulley off because it'd be a shame for a pulley like that just to go for $1 a kilo. I think I should be able to get it off. And generally, the farmers and engineers love to buy pulleys, and I usually get $10 to $20 for them. Some of these ones I won't worry. Cast aluminium ones tend to weld themselves to the shaft anyway, so it'd probably break trying to get it off, and it takes a fair bit of time. But yeah, the larger pulleys I will try and salvage. And along with the motors, I mentioned I'm going to take the wire. Let me show you that. There's a big coil just on top here. I have sold wire a fair while ago, but the price is much better now. I think it's about $4.30 a kilo, and I get 80 kilos in a wheelie bin. And this is all power cords or better. So I know some of you, especially in the UK, I see you talk about singles and you get a better price, which would be just the wire without the extra layer of insulation. I don't think they differentiate in Australia. We get, this is called mid-grade wire here. I know somewhere they call it different things, but it's got no plugs, and I think they say 43% minimum return for copper or something. But I've never had an issue. I didn't have last time. As long as there's no plugs, and as long as it's at least thick cable. As I said, I do power cords or better. Sometimes I'll throw in some speaker wire. That's probably power cable anyway, but as long as it has pretty good copper and it's not, you know, the fine data cable, I think I should be fine. So I've got 3 wheelie bins there. That's 80, 160, 240 kilos there. So at over $4 a kilo, that's going to be about $1,000 as well. I do have a couple of bins at the front here with data cable in, and I'm not sure. Let's get into this one. Oh. So I've got no plugs on this as well, but it's all sort of data cable and light cable, you know, when I'm scrapping things out. So I don't know how they pay for this. I know they do have a separate price for data cable, but I'm including all sorts of fine wires and telephone wires and that sort of stuff. Again, no plugs. I cut all the plugs off, all this ribbon too out of computers. So I'm not sure what my yard will treat that at, whether they will allow me to actually tip one bin in with the other 3, seeing so I've got quite a bit of mid-grade, and then get a better price. I don't know. I might take one of these down. I've only got 2 of these full. I might take one of these as well and ask the guy and just see if we can include it with the other stuff to get a better price. I have got other stuff in another bin here which is even lower grade, and it still has all the plugs on. It's just bits and pieces that I couldn't be bothered chopping the wires off, or a bit of very thin antenna cable, or that paper-like ribbon cable. So plugs included. I'm not sure what they would pay for that either, but I'm just going to throw that aside, and we'll take that down at some stage. And I also have a bin somewhere with Christmas lights that are probably even lower grade again. I'm not sure, but look, they're probably worth so little that I should just take them to the transfer station here as e-waste, but I'm just throwing them in a separate bin because I have a little bin handy. Okay, time to load up now. The rain had just stopped. We had a couple of heavy showers this day, but it was not too bad. The weather was quite nice. So I've got a ramp there set up. As you can see, it's only just wide enough. I've got to watch the wheels on the wheelie bin because if one slips over, remembering that they're about 80 kilos each plus the weight of the bin, I don't think I'd be able to stop it flipping. So Anyway, steady as she goes. The ramp's not overly steep, so it wasn't hard to load them in. And once they get in the van, they're easy to manoeuvre around. The van's got a really good floor in it. So 3 at 80 kilos we had, and I also put the 50 kilo data cable one in. Then I was bringing the milk crates out with the electric motors. Remember there was 30 kilos in each crate, so 2 crates make 60. They're pretty easy to trolley up. The trolley fits on the ramp a little better than the wheelie bins, and it's a good solid trolley with solid wheels, so it's very easy to roll along the concrete. Damn door blew closed on me, so it doesn't have, I think the latch is missing from that side. So I came up with a natty, clever idea of a piece of wood. You don't have to be Einstein to work that out, I guess. And finished loading the crates. Took me quite a while. And then we had the buckets. Now I had 15 kilograms of electric motors in each of these buckets. Just all little motors that you get when you're scrapping out of just kitchen appliances, and even the smaller ones from various things we scrap. I don't go into printers as you saw in the last video, but any little motor that's easy to get out I'll throw in a bucket, and it adds up pretty quick. So yeah, I don't include transformers in that. I keep them separate to the electric motors, or I think most scrapyards probably take them in the same bin. I like to keep them separate just in case there's any issues. All loaded up now, all set to head off to Melbourne in the morning. I've got 32 milk crates there with approximately 30 kilos each of electric motors. So that's 960 kilos. Add those 2 beefy ones there, it will take us over the ton. Plus I've got 180 kilos in the front section of the buckets of the little motors. So that's almost 1200 kilos of electric motors. I didn't even get that great big one at the back yet because I've still got to take the pulley off it, and there's another couple, but I'll leave them for another load. Factor in the electrical wire as well, and the weight of the wheelie bins. I reckon we're just over 1500 k's, so that will do for the trip. All loaded, happy with that. Lots of room left, but we can't put any more in due to the weight. The van seems to go quite well with around about this weight, but any more and it really starts to struggle. So it was handy, the ramp here to wheel the crates up. I've got a bit of a driveway section here, which really is good for loading things. When people are buying things with their utes or pickup trucks for you guys in the States, if they back down there so the wheels are in the gutter, it makes it so much easier to load things. So it's a handy little loading bay here. Let's go and have a look out the back. All the electric motors, bar a few, are now gone. I'm still pulling a few out of washing machines down the back. For those of you that saw the washing machine video recently, I've got most of them out, and those machines then will just probably go out to the transfer station here. So those pallets are all clear now. I might just stack all this. This is just to go to the e-waste transfer station here, although some of the microwaves I'm going to scrap. But anyway, that's cleaned up that area. We have this big monster here still, and there's another huge one down the yard somewhere as well. I'm not sure if the yards pay normal electric motor rate for the bigger ones. I'm not sure on that one, but I certainly want to get that pulley off. So alright, that'll do. We'll head off in the morning. Okay, good morning guys. We're about to hit the road. It's not so early actually. It's about 20 past 9. Had a bit of a sleep in this morning, you know, late night last night. We're back into our table tennis competition, and I'll film some of that for you one day. So it's something Christine and I do in our spare time. So about to hit the road. It's a nice day. It's a bit overcast, but quite nice weather, no rain. Bit of traffic about here already. It's good not going to Melbourne so early because the traffic down there early in the morning is just crazy with all the tradies. So should be a reasonably good run. I'll see you down there. Okay, I've just pulled up here in the yard. I've just remembered how noisy it is. There's, oh look at that, they're loading a shipping container on its end. That's pretty cool. There's big heavy equipment everywhere. The yard's pretty full. I have to wait until a guy over there moves before I can pull into that bay. So I'm just sitting here at the moment waiting. Have a look at these gigantic electric motors. They're a little bit larger than mine. So okay, I'll just have to twiddle my thumbs for a bit, enjoy watching the big machinery. Hopefully no one runs into me. And I think if we have a look over there, we've got to pull in there somewhere when the guy leaves. Okay, they brought me a bin. I've put the 2 big motors in for a start. They made a fair racket. Time to get some exercise and empty all these milk crates. So the first crate I tipped into the bin, and it was awkward because the shaft of the motor stuck through the side of the crate, and it was hard on my shoulders because it was 30 kilos, and then the whole lot wanted to fall in. So I quickly modified my method, and I just basically threw each motor in separately. A lot of the crates only had 4 or 5 motors because the larger ones weigh 10 kilos, so some crates only had 3 motors in them. So it didn't take very long to do. I was actually running out of room to put the empty crates, but yeah, I just kept going along. Have a look in the background. I didn't notice it at the time, but that 44-gallon drum that the forklift is tipping into the bin there is copper. Nice new shiny offcuts of copper. So that bin would have, or that 44-gallon drum would have held quite a lot of value of copper. So I think he was a tradie next to me there. It was obviously a plumbing company or something. Okay, the guy just took away my electric motors. I think I had 1,200 kilos or thereabouts. If I read the tear on the bin right. I'm a bit hesitant to film here this morning. There's a couple of officials around, and one of the guys told me I should have a yellow vest, so I don't want to be obviously filming their yard just in case there's any issues. So he's going to get another bin for all my wire, and he said this is all fine. 3 bins full of mid-grade, no plugs. And with this data cable, he said, tip it all in the same and I'll deduct a little bit of it, just a little bit off the price. So I'll have to leave it up to him to see how fair he is. That there's 50 kilos in there, plus 80 in each of these. So I'm just waiting on a bin for that now. All unloaded now. You can see the bit of data cable and whatnot on top. So hopefully they're fair on their prices. There's a fair bit of wire there. So all finished. The van's breathing a sigh of relief. And I'm itching for another coffee. Okay, we're out of the yard. I had to pull up down the street a bit. In fact, I'm a fair way down the road. I kind of got caught up in the Melbourne traffic and went with the flow. I'll tell you what, I'll never get tired of getting in this van after it's empty. It's like stepping from a toy car with a rubber band motor, perhaps a bathtub in a lake with stickers and oar, and suddenly you're in an F1 Formula racing car. It's just really good. Nice driving through traffic. Anyway, let's have a look at the numbers. Okay, we had 248 kilos of the good wire, and because I told him I had about 50 kilos of data, he wrote that down and took it off the other figure. So I had reckoned on about 240 kilos. It was 248 of the good stuff, so that's pretty good. The price seems down a little. I thought it was about $430, but anyway, $415 is pretty good. Just over $1,000 there, plus the 125 for the data cable. Most of that came out of skips, plus just little bits and pieces out of PCs and everything. The electric motors weighed a bit more than I thought, but then a few of them I put in at the end I hadn't actually weighed, and I thought they were $1.20, so maybe they're just down 10 cents. Even so, we got an excellent paying load of just over 2.5 grand. And we've got a coffee for the trip home. I don't have much of my tucker left. I had some eggs and whatnot for breakfast. There's a bit of cheese, but that's fine. We're a little later this morning, so we better hit the road, get back. And Christine's gone to Melbourne to see her mum for a few days, so Coco will be missing all the company. I better get back and talk to her. Okay, just got home. It's getting quite warm now, so I'm going to pick Coco up. We'll go back to the shop, unload, and just have a bit of a conclusion of this trip. Let's see if Coco's asleep or waiting eagerly for me to come home. Now there's a fair chance she heard me pull up, and in fact I think she's waiting behind the frosted glass, and she'll be excited to see us. Hello Coco! Hello! Are you all alone? Did Mummy go to Melbourne without you, and so did Daddy? Oh well, let's go back to the shop. Hey, you want to go in the car? Too right. You don't like being left behind, do you? You happy now? Let's go to the shop and see what we can get up to for this afternoon. So Coco and I have had a nice afternoon in the yard for the rest of the day. It's getting towards dusk now. I've got a few figures to update you on the loads of scrap we've taken. Now back in under that overgrown tree against the fence, I think there are 3 or 4 more 44-gallon drums full of electric motors, so we should get another load ready at some stage. I'll bring the milk crates down here and hack my way into this undergrowth, and we'll start packing the crates for another load. Next trip we will be doing the heavy melt steel from down the lane, and we might top it off with maybe some extruded aluminium, or maybe another couple of 100 kilos of brass. I'll just work that out. I like to do a few calculations, make sure we have a good paying load, around about 1,500 kilos in the van, and I do want to keep going and getting rid of the heavy steel, so we'll top it up with something valuable. Let's have a quick look at the figures before we finish up. Here we go. I'll keep these updated in the Great Yard Cleanup series as well as each scrap run. So today's scrap run, just over 1,500 kilos, which was pretty well exactly what I expected. When I worked it out, I was actually allowing a little bit for the weight of the wheelie bins too, so we were a little bit heavier on the motors than what I thought. So $2,500, bit over. So we've taken over 8, or actually almost 8.5 tonne of scrap to Melbourne so far, and that's around a bit over $13,000. So there's a lot of weight coming out of the yard. Remembering that it's not all scrap that's coming out. I'm putting a lot of stuff into the shop. Those old wheel things over there will go into the shop. I might advertise these steel trusses on Facebook. I don't think I have a use for those. They're too good for scrap. So there's a lot of tonnage coming out of this yard. Remember, I gave away all the pellets, and I'll be digging out a few more. I've got a bit of long pipe there to sell, so, and also the wood. So look, I won't be keeping track of all that, but we'll keep track of the scrap metal, and it'll be really interesting to see what it adds up to. So thanks for watching, guys. Say thank you, Coco. We've had a good time today. I hope you've enjoyed the ride. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.